everyone, thanks so much for joining me. In this video, I just want to cover some tips that I think are really helpful for getting more out of any sort of cardio exercises, whether it's walking, running, cycling, jumping rope, horseback riding, whatever it is. I think that there are some things you might want to consider to get more out of it and to be able to go further, go do it longer, okay? So for this, I think a lot about single leg exercises. Because if we think about it, whether we're, all those different exercises, once we put one foot down, one foot comes up, we're in a single leg movement for a fraction of a second, okay? And yet, we tend to put a lot of weight, we tend to allow the weight to settle into the joints rather than pulling it in and up. I notice this when I'm teaching single leg things, whether it's in yoga or strength training. It tends to really throw everyone off. I think more than it should, because if we're pulling everything, all of our energy, our engagement, our awareness up and in toward the midline, then we shouldn't feel as wobbly most days as it tends to throw us. So all of this relates to calf exercises, squats, lunges. So we'll look at different single leg exercises, but for the moment I just want to look at the ankles, knees, hips, okay, as far as their mobility. So starting with your foot ankle, you just want to get a sense of how mobile is it. So I'm not really lifting the inner edge or the outer edge of my foot, but my ankle is really mobile. So when I'm walking, if I am not paying any sort of attention to that, then even with the shoes and everything, I'll still tilt, okay, my ankle one direction or the other, which will have an absolute impact on my knees and hips. Where I tend to feel it, if I'm not walking in a mindful way, is actually in the hip joint, groin area. But I know just from kind of working with my body and yoga poses and such, that I have vulnerability in every single joint because of the flexibility. So I have to really focus, okay, in particular positions, and while I'm walking, just to be mindful now and again, okay, of how am I walking? Am I walking with the center lines of the feet as parallel as possible, the ankles, knees, hips, all centered, and am I supporting that in a muscular way? Because all those activities should feel buoyant, should feel light. We shouldn't be loud, okay, in our movements, in our stepping, okay, in our landings. We should be as light as possible, lengthened all the way up. Sometimes when I say this to students, they think, oh, okay, maybe I'm supposed to suck it all in and, I'm like, no. Don't do that, because that'll cause its own kind of tension. You want to be moving in ways that just make you feel lighter in your body, more empowered, okay, strength coming from the muscles in a supportive way. So now we'll look at the rest standing up. So most cardio activities are things that we take for granted, but when we want to go longer periods of time, whether it be 30 minutes, an hour, or longer, if we don't have good form, we really pay the price. Okay, so with walking or running or any sort of movement, okay, that's like this, you want to kind of take a look at how do you, strike, okay? So whether it's, I tend to be, heel toe, okay? But when you take one foot forward, the back foot is on the ball of the foot, okay? Not the heel has come up. So how sturdy, how solid do you feel with it? And at the same time, how buoyant? So just this position, taking one foot forward, leaving one foot back, and just kind of lifting onto the balls of the feet, and trying to notice how the ankles feel, and taking it slower and slower and slower. So what we're in right now, okay, we're doing something, an exercise that kind of works the calves, as well as it's kind of a mini lunge, a really small, okay, lengthwise lunge, but you want to get a sense of that. And then placing weight in the front leg, slow motion, okay, lifting the other leg. And this is a good time, okay, to work with the foot. Point and flex. Notice how you're placing weight on the standing leg. Place it back, okay. Little things just to notice, how do you work with the feet? Okay, so again, other side, same things. So doing things where you come up onto the balls of the feet and go back down. okay? But in the action, so whatever kind of cardio you're doing, slow it way down, okay? And just assess, okay? Especially if you're having issues in the joints post those activities, try to feel, okay, so when I come up onto the balls of my feet, do I feel like I'm rooting evenly, or do I do we tend to put more weight on the big toes, the pinky, underneath, so the ball of the foot? How is the weight being placed, and how foreign does it feel to try to even it out? Can I spread my toes? Can I still feel lengthened? Ankles, knees, hips, spine, shoulders, and neck, or does anything cause undue tension? Okay, so and then after you go slow a while, then you pick up the pace and you again start to become aware of where does your body want to go, and then you come into the front foot, lift that back foot up. Can you seamlessly lift it? Okay, can you work the body feeling light, okay, in the joints, having nothing to do with pounds on the scale? Okay, this is just the body we're living in, okay, right now. We can either live in it kind of unaware or with intention, okay? So the more single leg actions that you can just kind of test out, okay, that visit your cardio activity, the more you'll be able to tell, okay, what do you need to tweak while you're in it, okay? So as I said, if I go long periods of time and I'm not thinking about it in my walk, then I'll tend to be sore here. But the root of it is always in the placement of the feet. How am I distributing weight, okay? So coming back to this, I want the center lines of the feet parallel. Have this block handy, because in squats, you can place it, okay, here, okay, to inform, right, the length, the lightness. And there's separate videos on heel, the calf exercises and the squat and the lunge, okay? But what's informative about it, right, is pretend it becomes single leg, okay? So if you're doing a single leg lunge, okay, so leg back behind, right, how does the weight want to shift, okay? It's okay for the ankle to feel wobbly, okay? What's going to want to happen, though, is that the foot is going to want to turn out or something to compensate, but the hip knee will stay in the same direction, okay? So you want to really notice, is that happening during your cardio activity? It's very common. Somebody is walking, maybe their ankles roll in or out, but the knee, the hip, okay, will still go forward, or the ankle and the hip are still centered and forward, but the knee is going off kilter. We can become more mindful and have some say, okay? You might not have complete say, okay, because of the just shape of how we're put together, but we can have some say in how much we allow it to shift, okay, versus pulling up. And the more that you try to imagine that you're doing things single leg, when you put both feet down, you're going to feel more balance, because whether one foot is on the ground, okay, or down, or both feet are down, everything is a balance pose. Everything is an exercise in stability, okay, in stability. Okay, so we're always reacting, and the more aware we can be in any given exercise, okay, whatever it may be, the better we're going to feel in our body, the more aware we're going to feel. So I hope that this was helpful, okay? Just think of kind of dissecting whatever cardio activity you want to be doing or you're currently doing. Take it way down like you're going through sludge and see what's happening. I hope you have a great day. Namaste.